What's going on, everybody out there in the Frontline universe, and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review. Recording this at 1:30 in the morning on Tuesday because it's no longer Monday. We wanted to do this on Monday, but we had an awesome Q&A for Celestial Falcon that happened from 10 o'clock to 12 a.m. So if you'd like to check that out, you can go check it out in the previous videos. It was a wonderful time. We met a lot of really great people, talked, and had lots of great questions. And now officially Celestial Falcon issue number 1 is launched. But that is news. We are here to talk about the books, the comic books, the books that were released on
May 24th, 2017.
And with this being episode number 394, that means
6 more to go. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are eyeballs and there's them out there, but, it's a happy thing, It's like 6. It's a happy number 6, 6 is so handsome.
6 more episodes to go.
Okay, I'll do.
What's up, Jason Smith in the comments? No, we need to save that, or did you forget?
Well, you're the one that throws it around.
I threw it. You took it back.
It's over there.
And we got Larry Lawhorn. Man, you guys are crazy. You guys are up late. Well, then again, you guys are probably in different time zones. Right now, it's 1:30 in the morning my time. But anyway, we got lots of books to talk about this week. Once again, you can check out the Q&A. It came out at 10 o'clock yesterday. We're in Tuesday, so that means that Frontline Live is a mere 12-plus hours away. I don't know. I'm getting tired, man. Earthworm Jim. I like Earthworm Jim.
Yep.
Honorable shout-out goes first to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 11, Issue number 7. 10:26 p.m. Lucky you. So I really, at this point, don't have really much of a... I think that I understand where the stories go.
I'm trying to get it.
I know. I think I'm gonna have to clean off the lens of the
there we go.
Yeah, when we're done, when you get your next book, I'm gonna clean off the lens live, so you guys are gonna get to see lens cleaning live. But anyway, it's an interesting book. Buffy and Willow willingly give up their powers in order to leave the concentration camp, or the magical concentration camp, in order. Number 6. Oh, it looks like her. Oh, I got you. That looks like Earthworm Jim. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not feeling this season as much as I was feeling season 10. This whole magical camp thing. I feel like it's happening in other books for some reason too. I don't know. It just isn't doing it for me the way that Buffy usually does. I'm hoping once we get past this part of the season, things will get better, but this might be the main idea of the entire season, and that kind of hurts. However, with Angel Season 11, issue number 5, I did enjoy this book a lot. Angel is now in his past, where he found the beetle, or the golden beetle that is plaguing his present day. And the good news is that Fred, still I forgot the being that's connected to Fred, but she's still around. She's still able to mess around every now and again. But they're stuck on this ship with Angelus and that other girl whose name leaves my mind for some reason. And now they have to find the jewel and bring it back with them to the present, or figure out what the heck's going on with...
Is it black and white or something?
No, it's the light. The light just decides to make these ever so wonderful things on us every now and again. We're now bright.
Bright lights.
But anyway, I'm interested in it. They try to avoid Angelus throughout most of the book, and then in the end, Fred actually comes face to face with Angelus, while Angel's somewhere else trying to deal with whatever's going on the boat, trying to figure out where his past self is, and how to how to get off the boat before it's attacked by pirates, because that's what's about to happen. Interesting book. Highlander American Dream, issue number 4. I really enjoyed this book, and I don't want to review too much of it, because me and Brand have to do the next episode of There Can Be Only One. Podcast, yes.
Yeah.
I do like the rest of the 1950s that we get to see. We do get back to the 1980s, and we were right. Hook does escape in the 1950s, and now it's up to them to get Hook in the 1980s, 1985. And we get to see Corrigan. We get to see the beginning of Corrigan, which is basically, if you watch the Highlanders first movie, you'll know who that is, and you'll know that that's the person that Connor deals with in that movie. So it's going to be interesting to see where this last is. One more issue to go after this. It's going to be very interesting to see where the next issue goes, and I'm hoping that we get an ongoing from Highlander at some point. Saucer State issue number 1. I love alien books. There's one thing in this world that gets me. It's a really good alien book, and that cover grabbed me. However, I don't know how invested in this story I will be. I need to read a little bit more of it before I can come up with a definitive yes or no. So this woman and her husband ended up getting abducted by aliens a long time ago. We jump into the present day. The woman is now the president of the United States of America. Her and her husband have separated. The husband is still getting dreams or visions from the aliens out there in space, and they're warning the husband that something's coming. The wife is seeking help, or is working with the UFO committee, because she believes there's people out there. She believes she was abducted and it changed the way things were, and she wants proof about it. How much is the service? It depends how many books you want, Jason. But I would definitely say check them out. It's really not
DCBS.
I think he means DCBS.
Oh.
I believe you mean DCBS. And dude, it's really good. 30% all comics, and you can get as many as you want. Shipping, I think it depends where you live, but if you're in the United States and you want weekly, I think we pay like $16, and it's like 10 cents on a cover if you want a cover for your comics. But anyway, interesting book. In the end, there's these lights in the sky, and it's symbolizing that they're coming. I have to see where this arc goes before I can definitively say yes or no.
All right, so my turn. Red Agent, The Human Order, issue number 7. Fire and Ice is this comic right here. So in this comic, it really talks about the villain that they're going up against, which is Ember. Ember is the villain that lives inside the volcano, and not the Ember you're thinking of, like Last Ember Press. I'm thinking the Ember is, and Brittany's team is forming together with Silk and what's her name? And wow, why can't I remember the other one's name? Talisman, to go after Ember. So after he throws like so many of these demons and fires and everything, and I like how they use Brittany. Britt doesn't really turn into a werewolf as much in this comic book. I know it's like you could see it's about to happen, but she's like more human, which is actually really weird, I must say. But an interesting book. And it was sent to a different dimension, and someone else might be playing a huge role as the new villain in the story. And what's up, Tevia, who just came into this comment? See? Yeah. All right. Van Helsing versus the Mummy of Amun-ra. Amun-ra. Issue number 5. I believe there's one more issue left until this miniseries is done. And it's turning out to be very nicely. 4? No, this is issue 5. I said
one more to go.
Issue number 6. Yeah. I like how it's going, where Van Helsing is facing the queen, the God Queen in this issue. So she meets up with the God Queen, but in a corpse version of the God Queen. Like, it talks more about her story, which gets. I mean, it's kind of interesting how they're talking about more of the God Queen, about how she became the queen of everything, and also how Van Helsing studied the mummy, and this is why she's going after her, because she wants to take over the world and make everything more deadly, because she's the corpse, and and everything else for that. So in the next issue, though, I think that's going to be where the ultimate showdown is going to happen. So definitely take a look at that comic book, because the last issue is going to probably be phenomenal. Savage Dragon issue number 224. I have to admit, though, this book was kind of a little bit confusing in some ways. Like, you get
What's up,
Glum.
John?
Yeah.
Cotton.
You get
Cotton?
Yeah, you get Glum's character who's trying to make the whole world be the way it was before so he could get back with Angel. Then you have Malcolm in this battle, and then you get like these memories that happen, like what happened in issues before and what happened there. So it was kind of like a throwing flashback memories I found in this book, which was a little bit annoying but a little bit confusing as well as a reader of this book. So I mean, I guess after switching and merging worlds that Glum was doing, maybe that's why it happened. But in the end, though, Glum does get with Angel because he merged the worlds together. And this book was kind of a little bit of a giggity goo ga. We'll point it to that. And nudity. A little bit nudity. With innuendos and stuff like that.
Josh, Savage Dragon's been around forever, man. It's a good book. It's a really good book from Image. So far, I'm happy since Amazing Spider-Man number 31 came out. Comes out in August. That's cool. And then Jason asked what Josh has been.
All right, this one I review for Frontline Ghostbusters 101 issue number 3. And in this issue, we get the Answer the Call Ghostbusters who meet with Focus.
Josh is young.
Who meets up with the original Ghostbusters.
So to answer your question, Jason, 20 years ago, Josh wasn't around.
So just to say a little bit of that, so they meet up with each other because the Ghostbusters see that they're in the world where the Ghostbusters already exists, where they've been around for many, many years, whereas the Answer the Call Ghostbusters have been around for about a year or so until Chris is done wiping the lens.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice and clean.
But it's just really like an all-around thing about the Answer Call.
You've all been cleansed.
Yeah, the Answer to Call Ghostbusters who are trying to get the dimension door to reverse because since one of them entered the door, it kind of caused a little bit of a cross thing that happened with different years, so to say. So they have to reverse the dimension door in order to go back to the original universe as the Ghostbusters who they know as of the present day instead of the past. But really great book, though. Definitely check it out. Now, this one I want to try out because it has Ninjak and Shadow Man in this as well. I'm talking about Rapture issue number 1. The book was a little bit interesting, but I will have to say this was my least favorite, actually. And not because of the book. Like, it was just talking about Tama, I think her name was, and we met her in the Geomancer thing, the Book of Death, if you remember her.
No.
Who was with the Eternal Warrior, that little girl who read the books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she makes an appearance in this, and she's trying to find out more about Answer of not Geomancer, the Bibble of the Tower. Is this guy with like really, really long hair, and he wants to take over all civilization. So she goes to ask Ninjak, Shadow Man, and Punk Mambo, I think her name was, to form an alliance and to go after him. And they meet him at the tower, and that's where the book ends. So it was just like a little bit too dialogue heavy, and it was a little bit hard to understand a little bit of the text. But in all, for least favorite, that would have to be one of them for this week for that pile. This I review for Comic Frontline. We're going into now physicals of the indies. XMen Manowar issue number 3. In XMen Manowar, we get more about Arak and his team trying to get the Cadmium president, or the Emperor, so to say, while Captain Brannix is forming his plan to begin the bombardment early since the shields are down, and the artwork is fantastic.
Tevia says, so this is Dark Tower for Valiant. Rapture.
Basically, yeah. So as they're trying to find their way to get the president, they nearly had him but got away. The general made a decision to kill Captain Brannix and make Arak the new captain, which wasn't Arak's intent to do that. And now they're going to be seeing where they're going to go from there. And the next one, of Rise of a General, or Rise of the General. Was it a general? Yeah, Rise of a General, which is going to be a new story arc in the Manowar series. So looking forward to seeing how that's going to turn out. But really great stuff. Definitely enjoying this new direction for Manowar. Now it's our book.
I'm so glad this story arc for TMNT Universe is over. TMNT Universe issue 10. I did not like this Toad King or whatever the hell it is.
Rat King?
No, it's Toad King.
Oh.
I did not like the story arc. I did not like the artwork. I thought it was psychedelic. I thought it was insane.
What happened?
I did not like this arc at all. And actually, for the first time ever in Opposite World, I actually liked the secondary story, which was about Raphael's pet dinosaur, more than the main story. Go figure. However, this is the end of this story arc. We go into issue number 11 with a new story arc, and thank the Lord, man. This was the weakest TMNT Universe book, the weakest TMNT book I've read up until this point. Disappointing, especially with where the universe came from.
All right, so now we're going into the big two with our digitals.
Digitals.
Really.
I'm just throwing out Totally Awesome Hulk 19. I did check it out because it is crossing over with Weapon X. It was interesting. This was basically just exactly what was happening in Weapon X happened here. The machines chased after the Hulk, tried to steal his DNA. He fights them in space, ends up back on Earth, talks with Wolverine, Sabretooth, or Logan, Sabretooth, and Domino about what's going on. He remembers that he was bleeding in space and that the robots he was fighting were able to probably get his DNA from space. They have the green blood from the Totally Awesome Hulk. To be continued. It was interesting, but again, it's basically what we saw in Weapon X, and I really don't like that they did a crossover with Weapon X so quick. I feel like Weapon X is going to be done by the end of this story arc. Just a guess. Another book that's probably going to be done by the time Secret Empire is over. Secret Warriors issue number 2. More back and forth between the past and the present. This time mostly about Inferno, what was going on with him in the past, and when the takeover began. And they're going after now an X-Man or a mutant they're chasing after for help. And Karnak is leading him there. We see that it looks like there's an Inhuman getting arrested, and it kind of sets off Inferno. If you read all the backstory in this book, you see that Inferno gets, he wants to take action instead of running like he's been doing. It turns out to be a trap. Quake ends up getting almost taken in by S.H.I.E.L.D., and they escape barely, and they end up face-to-face with the mutants that they were chasing after way back at the end of issue number 1, to be continued. Honestly, at this point, think that this book, just like this issue right now, is going to come in for an honorable mention only. It's really not something that's going to keep me, but it's a nice little companion to skim over while Secret Empire is going on. Same thing with Totally Awesome Hulk. I didn't really get into Totally Awesome Hulk now. I'm literally only reading it until this crossover is done, and then I'm going right back to not reading it again. But I think it's ending anyway. As you guys know, I do leisurely read this. However, I wanted to review it because it crosses over with Action Comics and that Suicide Squad issue number 18. And in this issue, I don't want to say what happens in Superman yet, but basically in this book, you get Zod's point of view, like what's going on with Zod at the exact same moment as the Eradicator and Cyborg Superman are attempting to break in to I forget what the base is called that Amanda Waller has them in. They're trying to break in, and this is basically he cuts open his own head with his heat vision to pull out the bomb that Amanda Waller put into his head. And he's like, Zod is no one's, nobody commands Zod. Everybody kneels to Zod. So he ends up pulling it out. And now it's up to Suicide Squad to stop him. And that's where Eradicator and Cyborg Superman show up to free him, to be continued. So there'll be one more piece. Do you have to read this in order to get the full effect of action? No, but at the same time, it's a nice little companion to it. And that's why I'm reviewing it. And that's probably why I'll review Suicide Squad 19. But at the same time, if you want Zod's, like what was going on with Zod at the same moment as Superman was fighting Cyborg, Superman, and Eradicator, there's your book. I like Suicide Squad. I like the artwork in it, and I like the story, but I probably won't be reviewing it once the Action Comics crossover is done. Batman Beyond, issue number 8. Is it?
Yeah, 8.
This book was wow, because now, as you guys know, Damian I did not like Zod's appearance in Suicide Squad Arc 1, which was Blackball. Yeah, I didn't like that either, Josh. I will agree to that. I didn't like the way they introduced him. Honestly, I don't like that they've introduced Zod at all. Zod should still be in the Phantom Zone, just in there, period. The fact that they always go back, if it's not Brainiac, it's Zod. If it's not Zod, it's something else. First of all, Zod does not belong in Suicide Squad. Let me be perfectly clear with all of you guys. I did not agree with Zod being part of Suicide Squad. I actually dropped the book like an issue or two after he was introduced in the book because it just did not fit. He still does not fit. And living proof, Suicide Squad issue number 18, where he's basically defying them. Yes, but Superman Tevye is not part of the Suicide Squad family.
What about the other two that with Zod? Nan and
No, they're not there. So anyway, in Batman Beyond, however, we get to see Damian for the first time. They finally acknowledge Damian in the Batman Beyond universe. So Terry is busy fighting against the oh god, why did the name leave me at the moment? Anyway, he's fighting against Ra's al Ghul. They know Ra's al Ghul's back. Bruce is trying to convince him to get back to the Batcave because he has to take the suit off. And we get a background story on the suit. The suit is not meant to be worn because the suit is there to make sure Batman's successful no matter what. And the more Terry wears it, the harder it's going to be to take off. And the suit kind of takes control of Terry and forces him to go to Ra's al Ghul. And we find out from Bruce that it's a dangerous suit. He actually knocked out in it. It was one of the last times he fought as Batman. He KO'd, and the suit still kept going while he was out cold. And the suit must have got damaged, and that's how he got it off the first time, or else he'd still be stuck in the suit. He's afraid that Terry's going to get stuck in that suit. So now he's chasing after Terry. Terry's going after Ra's al Ghul. The others are worried in the Batcave, and what do we find out? We find out that the real Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, is dead. League of Assassins. Thank you, Tevye. And who's in his place? Damian. Damian is the new Ra's al Ghul, or he's the new Al Ghul.
Well, you had to see that.
That's leading the. But it's kind of weird because in the Batman Beyond universe, Damian is leading the League of Assassins now. But in the comic books, in the real comic books, we all know that that'll never happen because he's Robin. It's kind of weird. But at the same time, it's going to be very interesting to see Damian versus Terry. I'm looking forward to that. Going into physicals now. I believe, yes, there's 4 Marvel altogether. Starting with X-Men Blue. I really liked this issue. So it is Jimmy Hudson. We were all, well, I was wrong. Everybody was saying it was Jimmy Hudson. Hail Hydra. That's right. So Jean ends up in the Blackbird before they go back to Manowar. They end up following Cerebro to Arrow Ridge, Colorado, where she gets a spike from a mutant, and the sheriff ends up bumping into them, and she talks about this young boy who looks like Wolverine, but it's not Old Man Logan, it's not Wolverine, it's younger. And the X-Men, or most of them except for Cyclops, are remembering back to the crossover they had where they were in the Ultimate Universe for a time. And they all remember Jimmy, but Jimmy doesn't remember them. We don't know why, but Jimmy has absolutely no memory of them, or I guess the Ultimate Universe. And it turns out to be a fight between the X-Men and Jimmy because Jimmy is just completely out of control. They end up subduing him enough to kind of talk with him, and then they take him somewhere of mutual ground. I will say that.
Oh, All Day Anime.
What's up, All Day Anime? There's a lot of Hail Hydra going on. Man, are you all like enjoying? Please tell me at least you all are enjoying Secret Empire, and that's all I'm going to say to that. And they talk to him, and he can't remember a darn thing. So it's basically Wolverine all over again. However, we get an idea, because I didn't read the crossover. I don't believe I read the crossover anyway. So we get a little bit of a sum up there, and then we find out that other heroes, which I will not spoil here, from the Ultimate Universe have also crossed into the Marvel Prime Universe, and they're chasing after Jimmy to bring him back. To what? I don't know. There's no Ultimate Universe anymore. And let's see, Damian is the leader of the League of Assassins. Then what happened to John? Happens to John? I don't know. This is Batman Beyond, Tevia.
No, he said if Damian is leader of League of Assassins.
I have no clue. There's
John?
no John in the Batman Beyond universe yet. I love Secret Empire. The concept is great. Okay, as long as you guys like it. See, I'm very intrigued by Secret Empire. The first book hooked me. The second book reeled me in, and now I'm reading the rest of the series. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting event. And I was going to, and for those, I know All Day Anime and Josh, you don't know, but I was very against it for a while until I actually read the event, and I was like, okay, fine. Last event for 18 months. You hooked me, Marvel, for this. So I agree with you guys. I'm very interested in where this story arc's going. How are these Ultimate X-Men still alive? I have no clue, Tevia. They're going to tell us in the story, I guess. But XMen Blue is excellent. That's for sure. Now going into Michael, who is now reading
Jean Grey issue number 2.
Because Dennis Hopeless stopped doing Spider-Woman, and Michael is now reading his Jean Grey that started up right after.
Right, and I read issue number 1. I really liked it. So in issue 2 now is more about Jean Grey trying to figure out, you know, if she's crazy or not that she saw the Phoenix bird from what she saw in the last issue. So with that, she goes to where Professor X goes to, that sees like who communicates with all the mutants. The Cerebro.
Cerebro.
So Cerebro? I thought it was
Cerebro.
Oh, Rebro. I thought I saw an L in that one. Well, anyway, she communicates with
How many years have you been reading comics?
Not X-Men. But anyway, so she gets in contact with, get this, she gets in contact with Quentin Quire, Hope, and the others who are known to be related to the
have a good night, Larry.
Yeah, and by the way, the artwork in this is really amazing. In Jean Grey.
Yeah, I was really happy to see Hope again.
Yeah, so in this one though, she's just, all it is just her trying to figure out about, you know, if she's gonna turn into this different Phoenix, or trying to control herself that she doesn't get into turning into that Jean Grey of Phoenix. So Quentin Quire's like saying, you know, you could just what was that thing? You could just fight it or run the hell away from it. And you know, basically she's having her team trying to figure out, you know, what she should do. But Quentin Quire really doesn't help as much as he should be to, you know, help her keep the Phoenix intact. But it was like really interesting though, just trying to figure out what she's going to do. And now it looks like Namor is going to be the next person that she's going to be seeing, or Namor, however they say his name. So I can't wait to see how he is going to be helping Jean Grey or not. We'll find out then. This is your book. Oh dear Lord.
Ben Reilly, The Scarlet Spider, issue number 2. I feel like this book was better-ish.
Uh-oh.
So, well, lucky you, Josh. I wish it was 8 in the morning at least. Anyway, so Ben doesn't trick, but Ben basically asks to see the woman's daughter who's dying because he said he would save her. He ended up cloning her, and then the real her, you know, was released, and she's still super sick. So he's like, I could help her. And then you get Kane, who's interrogating the only person that knows Ben is alive to find out where Ben is, and he kind of tricks her. I like that. I like how he makes it look like he's really going to hurt her, and then in the end, he really doesn't. He just uses a scare tactic in order to get the information out of her. So they go see the, what's her name? Miss Mercury's daughter. And for some odd reason, the girl wakes up while Ben is there. And he's like, yeah, I could totally. And I love how the internal dialogue's like, this is impossible. And he's like, it doesn't matter. And she's like, can you cure her? And in his mind, he's like, nope, you cannot. It's incurable. Crick's disease is incurable. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. She's like, how? In his mind, he's like, no idea. And he's like, research and more research. So basically, she funds him to do this research to save his daughter, which her daughter is unsavable completely, but then we find out that Kane is doing some detective work to find out where Ben is. He finds out where Ben is, and then he gets attacked. By whom? I guess we'll have to wait and find out in the next issue. But I'm looking forward to seeing where the next issue is going. Like I said, I was giving this entire book its entire first story arc before I judged it. I thought it was interesting. Miss Mercury, I just hope that they don't stick to Miss Mercury too long.
What?
I don't think Ben Reilly can save. I think she's gonna die.
No, she's going to die.
I don't know, Tevye. We'll have to wait and find out. It was interesting enough. Now, I've been hearing mixed reviews about this. I did not hear a review because I wanted to read it first. Venom issue number 150.
Now, this is Eddie Brock.
This is Eddie Brock.
Okay.
For the whopping price of $5.99.
What?
Because it's an
150.
It's a lot of pages. It's got a lot of pages. There's 3 stories in here.
Oh, boy.
The main story, we see that Eddie Brock is struggling, being Venom again. He's happy. This is what he's wanted. He's always wanted to be Venom. He wanted to be rejoined together with him, but something's wrong. Something is off. He's like, I said if I got this costume back, it'd be different. I'd be the good guy. I'd be this. I'd be that. And it's just not. I just really don't like. I'm okay with the anime-esque kind of look for Eddie, but. What's your favorite graphic novel ever? Superman. Anything Superman, man. I love Superman. But he ends up in the church where him and the Venom symbiote first bonded. He's talking with this priest who's trying to tell him maybe it's not a good thing, that, sometimes it's a toxic relationship where the pain is just worse because, you feel like you're kind of more addicted than in love, which I like that aspect because it's true. The Venom symbiote's more of an addiction than it is a love. And the thing is now the Venom symbiote is back to its old ways. It's not cleansed anymore, so to speak. I did not care for the panel where when Scorpion shows up, the way he venomed out was kind of I don't think it was misleading at all. And then you get that big Venom versus Scorpion. Scorpion wants to eradicate the Venom symbiote once and for all. He fails, but Eddie kind of faints because he kind of overdoes himself, and then he wakes up in the church and I believe the priest is dead. It looks like the priest is dead, and now Eddie's like, I don't have control over the symbiote, and instead of it not bothering him, you clearly can see that it's bothering him. And yes, I understand what you're talking about, Tevye. You're talking about arc 2 or story 2 of 3, and that is how Flash Thompson lost the Venom symbiote. Yeah, exactly. You thought he was bleeding from the eyes, and he wasn't. That was a symbiote. And it shows that Flash was fighting this dude. The symbiote ended up getting hurt really bad and ended up running off, and Flash tried to chase after it. But the symbiote escaped, and that's what led into the story arc before this, where that jerk ended up having the symbiote for a time. And then we get, of course, you got to waste how many pages? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 whole pages of all the covers in the Venom series ever. So it goes all the way back to the beginning with Lethal Protector. Then it goes into...
There's got to be a Maximum Carnage series in there.
Yeah, 1 minute. It goes into...
What's Separation Anxiety?
Funeral Pride, I think it is. I don't know. It's a crossover with the Punisher. Then you have The Madness, which had Juggernaut. Then you have the Attempt at the Ongoing, which actually has the cover that's right there on the wall that we have. That actually starts off with that exact same cover right there.
Glow in the Dark, too. In case you didn't hear me.
Mania couldn't. Yeah, Mania couldn't even find it. And then it goes all the way through to Separation Anxiety. Then you get some other, the other Venom ongoing. The Venom that we started buying actually was...
Wasn't it that one?
No, this one. We have the ongoing Venom from this issue. No, it's not doing it. From this issue all the way through until around the top somewhere. And then, of course, as you guys know, I didn't really get too much of the Venom book after that. And then I started digitally reading Venom Space Knight, and now here we are. And then the third story is more of a flashback of right before. Okay, Funeral Pyre. Yeah, I have that one too. But we get to see when Eddie Brock as Venom is planning out. We get like a classic feeling Venom. Like there was a guy trying to rob people in the mall, and Venom shows up to save the day. And yeah, of course, it's classic Venom. He tries to save the day, and he's kind of still dark, twisted, and whatever. So, and that's right before his first fight with Peter Parker.
At that. It's not really that bad of an issue.
It was all right. It wasn't amazing. See, this is what I don't understand. People were very upset with it, like Tevye, for example, saying it was very misleading. I don't think it was misleading at all. I enjoyed the issue for what it was worth. Could it have been better? Yes, because now it's like, okay, so now Eddie Brock is kind of questioning his relationship with the symbiote, which I don't know. And I don't know why Mania couldn't find it. I personally thought it was okay. I don't know where it falls on my number spectrum yet because I have, well, you guys will find out tomorrow during Frontline Live where we do our top 5. But anyway,
with me.
Batman, The Shadow, issue number 2. I've already reviewed it for Comic Frontline. I really enjoyed it. The Shadow, it turns out, was possibly Ducard, the guy that trained Batman. And he's telling that Batman that it wasn't him, it was the Stag, who was the guy on the cover here that did it. And Batman figures out where the Stag is going to hit next, because apparently all of a sudden he believes that the Shadow's telling him the truth. The Shadow, in disguise, ends up pretending to be the person who's the Stag's next target. And the Stag ends up getting away, and Batman kind of... I guess this is where the part where Batman's going to start teaming with the Shadow, and where the Stag is going to be teaming with the Joker.
Ooh.
To be continued. Very, very... I'm really enjoying this series a lot. If you'd like to see a full review of this, go check it out on Comic Frontline now.
And speaking of Comic Frontline, this book I did review on Comic Frontline, the Hellblazer issue number 10. This is the Smokeless Fire Part 4 story arc. And we get introduced to, like we heard about the jinns who are genies, but we get into new things called the Lycans, which are the werewolves. But before we get into all that, it's just John Constantine and Mercury who are trying to find more about the journal from the flying shoe that John Constantine was trying to put magic on to find more information about that. And the Lycans are, just to give you an example here, the art's a little bit sketchy, but okay in a sort of way. And then they're just trying to escape them. We also have Papa Midnight, who actually joins in this story, who doesn't really like John Constantine as much, so that's why he doesn't want to really join the whole team up, as Mercury tried to let him team up, but there's just never good old days with him. I mean, there's never any good days with John Constantine. Everybody doesn't like him. So now with the shoe that they have, looks like that John Constantine has more work to do with the shoe to get it to work with some magic spells and stuff. Average read, up to you guys who want to pick it up, but it's still on that little slope. But that's just me.
Yeah, we're jumping back and forth all the way till the end now. Wonder Woman 23, the final part to The Truth. We find out who or why the God of War is locked away, or how he ended up locked away in the tree, and why it needed to be done, and why his sons ended up wanting to get to him. They either want to save him and drive him back to madness, or they want to kill him and take his power. So it's up to the Amazons to keep, the tree safe, which they're going to fail. And, oh God, why did the name leave me? I don't like that the names leave me. But yes, he lost his sanity. He was retaken. He was taken in by his wife. The love of his wife actually was the reason why he ended up trapped in this tree, and he's between what realms? The reason why they can't get the Themyscira is because the Amazons are protecting him from being released again. And that's why Wonder Woman was led to believe that she was going back and forth between Themyscira and the world. But in reality, it was a trick by his sons to trick her into going back to the real Themyscira and getting them freeing their father. And she finds a way to stop both, I can't say their names, but both of his sons. And it's basically by using the lasso. And I really do not, the artwork in the middle, it felt like the artwork kind of just changed. And it kind of threw me off a bit, even though really I don't believe it did. And she ends up binding the two sons, and they end up getting to go home. But Veronica's daughter can't go home because her body and her essence were split. If she takes the girl home, only her body will go home. But if the girl stays, she can go to Themyscira and basically live forever and be whole again. So that's basically what ends up happening. And it's kind of sad. And then there was a wonderful moment at the end of the book with Wonder Woman and her mother. But now we know why Wonder Woman can't go back to Themyscira. Will that be forever? I don't think so. I think that once Rebirth fixes things, it'll be different again. I will probably be dropping Wonder Woman after Greg Rucka leaves the book, which I believe is the next issue. I believe he's leaving because Truth is done now, unless there's an epilogue. And the setup, the prelude story, the year one, story to the Truth is coming out in issue 24. It's the final, and then we're done with that. So either he's leaving at 25 or 26, but I will be dropping Wonder Woman after Greg Rucka leaves, just because I'm reading a lot. And Wonder Woman I'm starting to drift away from a little bit. The main comic in the UK is 2000 AD. You should try it because it has 5 stories per. Yeah, 2000 AD. I've read that magazine every now and again. It's really good. I'm not going to lie. It's a really good book. I just don't have the time to read 5 stories in one book compared to all the other books that we read each and every week.
Justice League of America issue number 7. This is more focused on Killer Frost's point of view about how she's trying to find a cure for her ways, because the only way she lives is to kill people with ice. So we get a little bit of her talking with the Atom for that. And we also get John Mobley. You ever heard of John Mobley? I think he's like known as Terror Strike or something. So he invades the museum as the guards try to stop him. And Adam and Killer Frost are in there. I do have to say that the artwork is pretty good in Justice League of America. And these demons who were, with Terror Strike, they invade the museum, and those were the guards. So we have Lobo, who is actually appears in this.
This I remember. I remember these guys from a Superman.
Yeah, Glanth.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. They were part of Bloodline.
Yeah, he's talking about this character right here.
I remember that story that was in DC Comics Bloodlines.
Yeah, so they're trying to get together again, both Terror Strike and Glanth. And
thanks for stopping in, Josh.
And knowing that Terror Strike can't give Killer Frost the nightmare because she's already living it, she does the unthinkable of what she didn't want to do, which was to kill Terror Strike. And we get a little bit of that. And also, we get Amanda Waller, who is actually talking with, what was him? The Terror Strike. And then he says, sure enough, soon we'll all have something to fear once things are granted to him.
I have a feeling Amanda Waller is going to try to get Killer Frost to go dark again.
But because that's the way it's leading here about Killer Frost. So I don't think she killed the Terror Strike. I think it was just something different in her story.
Detective Comics 957, the spoiler issue. We get to see what Stephanie's been up to. Stephanie, we get to see her destroying the bat symbol, basically wanting to make Gotham less dependent on Batman and all other superheroes. She believes that since Batman came to Gotham, or since Batman's creation, that's why all the bad stuff's been happening in Gotham. And she believes all superheroes and everybody should do exactly what Tevye wants Dan Slott to do. Go away. This way, all the supervillains will go away. And there's this guy, Wrath, who ends up breaking into Gotham News, GNN, and holds the whole place hostage, wants to make a ransom live stream in order to get Batman to show up. But, of course, Stephanie's there to prevent the broadcasting.
That figure still looks nice.
We will be getting that hopefully whenever they release it. I will then have 3 Doomsday figures, but this one's coming out of the box. Unless the box display is good, then I'm leaving it in the box. But anyway, spoiler, ends up taking down Wrath with her mind because she's a lot like Robin. However, in the end of the book, I'm not going to spoil this. Spoiler actually gets
Ooh.
Yeah, somebody goes to spoiler because she's like, I'm not a superhero. I'm definitely not a supervillain. I'm something else. And then this other person goes to her to try to give her a purpose or to try to help her. And it's to be continued with that. I'm very interested in seeing where this story arc goes. Unless this was the end and it was a teaser for a future story arc. I hope it's not a teaser for a future story arc. I hope we get to see more of this and what's going to happen with Stephanie. Because we all know at some point Stephanie is going to go back to the Bat family. Everything will be better. And you know when it's going to happen probably? In about a year once they find out that Tim is alive. And then Tim is going to be like, dude, why are you against Batman again?
We're continuing with the Lazarus Contract Part 3 in Deathstroke, issue number 19. It was a pretty good book, and I'm gonna say this now. I will be reading the next issue of Deathstroke. If I don't like the direction that Deathstroke's going in, then I'm going to have to get rid of it off my physical pile.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying for that. But
I think it is off your physical pile, dude.
I think so. I'm probably. But anyway, so Deathstroke is with the new power of the Flash thing, and we get why can't I remember his name now?
Wally. Flash.
Thank you. Wally is trying to stop him and to try to help him out, but you know, Deathstroke is just trying to get back his life of what it was before. Then he gets encounter with Robin of
Dick Grayson Robin.
It looks like the Dick Grayson Robin, yeah. Like it was just like going back and forth and stuff like that. Like it just keeps going back to the stories that happened, the past of his story, and then it goes back to the present day. We also have the Titans and Teen Titans who are trying to figure out how to get to Deathstroke and what this New 52 Wally West is and how there's more than one, so to say. Then we get Jericho, who's in this story that talks about Grant's death. And I remember this being in the Deathstroke stories back issues before that. All works pretty good. And that's what really it is. It's just, you know, going back to Grant's story and then just Jericho, who actually meets up with Deathstroke, but he also meets up with what's his name? I think it is Jericho in a different suit, and he just says that he's found him, and it's to be continued in the Teen Titans Annual.
Yeah, I think it's only got a couple more books to go.
No, only one more issue until the last contract concludes.
Okay, so then
it's only one more pod.
You know what? We're in. Yeah, that's right, because this is the 5th Wednesday of the. This is a 5 Wednesday month, so 2 to 1. Yeah, there's a Trinity Annual, I think, as well.
Right. So since this is part 3, it'll conclude in the Teen Titans Annual, which I will read. I mean, I do read Teen Titans anyway, so.
Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern Corps issue 21. I really liked this ending. Man, if you don't want spoilers, you better mute yourselves for a little bit. So Hal and Rip are heading towards Sarko, who has the the construct that was formed by the Gauntlet, waiting for Hal Jordan, waiting for the fight. You know, the future still hasn't changed yet. You've got the Green Lanterns, I called it, without their rings on, fighting back against the constructs that Sarko sent their way. We get to see that Saranic and Kyle are getting closer again. So I like that at least Kyle and Carol are done, because I remember a lot of people were upset about that because Carol is Hal's girl. Honestly, I don't know how their relationship will ever get back together now, but it's nice to see Carol and it's nice to see Saranic and Kyle back together, because I remember reading that way back during Green Lantern Corps, pre-New 52, after 52 for a bit, and I really like that relationship. I'm glad that they're building on that. However, things are going to, we'll see. So They're fighting the constructs on Oa, on Mogo. I keep saying keep wanting to say Oa, and you got Hal that's fighting the construct now that was made by the Gauntlet. One bad thing happens whenever something from the future comes. What's the one thing you don't do? You don't pry into the history, which is still your future. And Kyle finds out the history of Sarko and his bloodline, and it sends him running from Mogo to where Hal is, and Hal ends up fighting the construct. And then for some, I don't know, this was the only part that I really didn't like too much. He easily rips the Gauntlet apart, which destroys the constructs on Mogo, destroys the living being on the planet, and unfortunately Sarko gets stuck in the explosion and ends up dying. And it looks like, the Green Lanterns have saved the day. Rip goes back into the time stream. Hal swears that the Gauntlet's staying in the vault and never, ever, ever coming out again. You get to see it's still got a little bit of power left in it. And we find out that, and this is the biggest spoiler here, Sarko was the son of Saranic and Kyle. And in knowing this, Kyle is a bit broken now. And I like how in the end of the book, Rip's like, I'm surprised you didn't, pry into anything. And Jay, what do you call it? John is like, I had that temptation, but I was like, you know what? I need to worry about he was telling Guy, you know what? I'm just worried about the here and the now. Let somebody else worry about the future. And that's when it goes to Kyle. And he's like, Sarko was my son. So this might put a bit of a damper on the relationship that was about to start with him and Saranic, or maybe not. Who knows? But we know right now that Kyle is pretty broken. We'll see if Saranic ever finds out about the truth about Sarko. Now, I did a review of this, and it is now 2:16 in the morning, so I'm going to give you guys a brief because we're getting tired. He has work. I'm tired. I need bed. So Superman Action Comics 980, I reviewed this on Frontline as well. This is my favorite book. If I had to give up every single book in DC except one, this would be the book that I keep. So like I was telling you guys in Suicide Squad, you got Zod's point of view. In Action Comics, you get Cyborg, Superman, and Eradicator. Look at that picture.
Wow.
This takes me right back to the 90s, man. This is a trip to the 90s and back again with many, many awesome things. The artwork and everything's amazing. So Superman is chasing after the Revenge Squad, or Cyborg, Superman, and Eradicator, and everybody else that he finds out destroyed its Himalayan fortress. John is having a problem wanting to, living in Metropolis. Obviously, we'll see more of that, I guess, later on. He's at the Watchtower with Batman trying to figure out where Eradicator and Cyborg Superman are. Finds out that they're trying to break into Amanda Waller's, where was it? I forgot. They said where it was, too. I forget. Anyway, Batman offers his help. Superman's like, this is the Eradicator. It's a Kryptonian problem. If I need help, I'll call. I didn't like that he said that. That kind of felt a little off, that it's a Kryptonian problem. He could have easily said, I don't want anybody to get hurt, which is the truth, and just been on it on his own. But we all know Batman will show up if things get really hairy. We get, anyone who doesn't know Cyborg Superman, you get a 2-page spread with his history. So you get introduced to Cyborg Superman if you don't know who he is. If DC would have done this way back when, we wouldn't have needed the New 52. Superman breaks in, and the Abyss basically gives you your worst nightmares. It basically slowly drives you mad. That's what was happening to Cyborg Superman when he was reliving his life. This one has all the dead attacking Superman, all the regrets he's had, all the people that have died in his life. Martha and Jonathan Kent right now. And there's a bit of a fight between him, Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman. But they escape, and we know where they end up. Suicide Squad 18. Ooh. And Superman is trapped in the Abyss, facing off against his worst fear. All of his loved ones dead, and it's his fault. Will Superman fall to madness, or will he break free? He'll break free. Issue 981, he'll break free, and he'll end up fighting. I'm really interested in seeing him versus the Revenge Squad. These are big baddies. What's up, SM Down 9? What's going on, man? These were hard for him to beat one-on-one. These were really strong foes between Zod, Cyborg, Superman. Eradicator was an on-and-off-again foe. Mongol. Blank was a touch-and-go with the Lois and Clark series, so it'll be interesting to see that. But all 5 of them together at once, this is going to be a challenge for Superman. Unless we get a world's finest team up, which wouldn't be a bad thing either. Batman and Superman once again. We'll have to wait and find out. But with that, that's it for this review, guys. We're done. We're tired. We're going to bed. Thank all of you so much for being here with us live in the comments. But now it's your guys' turn. You guys that are watching off live, after the live show, after the fact. Let us know what you guys thought about the books that came out this week. Did you enjoy them? Didn't you? Likes, dislikes, agree, disagree, recommendations. We love hearing from you guys. Let us know in the comments below. And as always, we are Comic Frontline, your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. If you like this video, click the sub button. This way we're in your sub box, and you don't miss out on a single video. And if you're watching this towards the end of June, you are on my channel, Dark Avenger C86. Yes, I know these books came out way back last month. The reviews are not late. These are being reposted later on Dark Avenger C86, going all the way up to episode number 400. So you'll either be watching this post live on Frontline or a month later on my channel. Either or. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. And if you're watching it on my channel, please definitely do leave a comment as well. And if you're new, hopefully you subscribe. I got a lot of stuff coming back on my channel as we speak. We got a lot of stuff going on, and more stuff will be coming on my channel as we move forward. Thank you all. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful night or morning, because it is 2:20 in the morning our time. Yes, we are dedicated to getting this guy to you guys by Tuesday morning, the latest. That is why we stayed up late. I did the Celestial Falcon Q&A with Brant and Jay, and then took a, I think, half-hour break and came right back to do this for you guys. We make sure we get this out on time. We didn't want to wait till Thursday. We wanted to do this, and we wanted to push tonight. But anyway, we're going now. Thank you all so much for being here with us. Take care. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you guys. If you're watching this post live on Frontline, we'll see you guys tomorrow on Frontline Live, Tuesday, 9:45 p.m.-ish Eastern Standard Time. And if you're watching it on my channel, I'll see you guys soon in the next video. There are a ton of videos still to come. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you guys soon.
Later, guys.
Keep reading, keep collecting.